As Cameroon once again marches to the polls this Sunday to elect a president, one question has echoed sharply through the corridors of conscience and conviction across the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. Again, and the question is, does Ambazonia have any skin in the game? To the Ambazonian people, that question is not just rhetorical, it is existential. For 9 years, they have endured bombings, killings, torture, displacement, and destruction under the very system that now seeks legitimacy through yet another election. The call from Ambazonian leadership is clear: total abstention and a complete lockdown of the territory. But as always, there are voices often from the fringes arguing that perhaps this election presents a golden opportunity to change the regime in Yaoundé, to unseat Paul Biya, and to usher in a possible peace. But let's pause and think for a moment. Peace. Peace under what arrangement? Peace under whose terms? Peace at what price? For 42 years, Paul Biya has perfected the art of rigging, manipulating, and maintaining power through sham elections. Every 5 or 7 years, Cameroon stages what it calls a democratic exercise, but which in truth is a ritual of reaffirming tyranny. Opposition parties line up like sheep for the slaughter, each believing against all logic that perhaps this time the votes will count, that perhaps this time change will come through the ballot box. And every time, the results are the same. Paul Biya wins again, and the circle of deceit continues. Now, some suggest that Ambazonia should put skin in the game, that we should align tactically with opposition forces to topple Paul Biya. But to do that is to betray everything, ladies and gentlemen, the Ambazonian Revolution stands for. It is to concede that we are part of the same political community, that our struggle is not for independence, but for reform within the so-called one and indivisible Cameroon. It is to kneel once more under the same flag that has drenched our land in blood. If Ambazonia were to participate in French Cameroon elections, even symbolically, it would amount to recognizing Cameroon's sovereignty over our land. That single act would erase decades of struggle, disarm our moral argument before the world, and render our sacrifices meaningless. It would tell Yaoundé and the international community that, despite our cries for self-determination, we still see ourselves as part of the system that oppresses us. Participation would also have strategic implications, because once you recognize a system by engaging in its electoral process, you cannot unrecognize it. If Biya wins, as history has shown he will, then Ambazonia would have no ground left to claim that it does not belong to the Republic of Cameroon. We will have no ground to say that. We would have, by our own hands, destroyed the foundation of our case before international law. we would have renowned our claim to sovereignty in exchange for a seat at a fraudulent table. Even worse, ladies and gentlemen, if Biya loses and another candidate, say Issa Chiroma, rises to power, the damage will be no less severe. By voting, we would have already endorsed that successor. We would have said, in effect, we believe your system is legitimate. We accept your process. We acknowledge your rule over us. And once that happens, Ambazonia's status as a separate and distinct entity vanishes in the eyes of the world. Then we have no case, no legs to stand on. Issa Chiroma's sudden transformation into a prophet of peace, forgiveness, and national reconciliation must not deceive anyone, not in Ambazonia. His campaign rhetoric about a referendum or reconciliation and national forgiveness is not aimed at justice. It is aimed at mere peace and preservation. He is not recognizing the uniqueness of the Ambazonian cause, the Ambazonian conflict. He is simply trying to repackage it as another Cameroonian problem to be managed, to be solved within the framework of a grand national dialogue, grand national reconciliation. This is not new. We saw the same playbook in 2019 when Biya's so-called grand national dialogue pretended to address the conflict, but ended up being a public relations show to calm international pressure. That grand national dialogue treated the Ambazonian struggle as a domestic grievance, a matter of poor governance and marginalization, rather than what it truly is, a question of decolonization and self-determination. That is what the Ambazonian conflict is about. Chiroma's language follows that same deceptive trajectory. Chiroma speaks as though the problem of the Southern Cameroons is the same as the problem of unemployment in Douala or poor infrastructure in Yaoundé. It is not the same. But Ambazonia's case is not a Cameroon issue. It is a Southern Cameroons issue, born of international injustice and colonial betrayal. To frame it otherwise is to erase our history, deny our identity, and whitewash our cause. Abstaining from this election is not weakness, it is strategy. It is a bold statement of non-recognition. By staying away, staying out of Cameroon's election, Ambazonia declares to the world, we are not part of this process because we are not part of that country. It is the same logic that drove colonized peoples across the world, ladies and gentlemen, to boycott the institutions of their oppressors until independence was achieved. To vote in French Cameroon's election is to participate in a lie. To abstain is to expose that lie for what it is. Every empty polling station in Ambazonia is a vote for independence. Every locked market and silent street in Ambazonia is a statement that says, we do not belong here. We do not belong in La République. This is how Ambazonia negotiates from a position of strength, not by joining their dance, but by refusing to play their music. When the guns go silent and the dust of the election settles, ladies and gentlemen, Yaoundé will look westward and see a territory that did not participate, a people who refused to be co-opted, a nation that stood apart. That image speaks louder than any ballot ever could. Those who argue for participation forget too quickly. They forget that in 1961, the Southern Cameroons voted in the United Nations organized plebiscite to join or not to join a union, not to absorb and colonize. They forget that since 2016, the same regime now calling for peaceful elections has burned down villages, executed our civilians, and imprisoned thousands. They forget that every dialogue has been a monologue of deceit. If history has taught us anything, if history has taught Ambazonia anything, it is that the BS system cannot be changed from within. It must be dismantled from without. And the only legitimate force capable of confronting it on moral and political grounds is Ambazonia, the people who have chosen to stand outside that system. The Ambazonian revolution or cause does not need to cast ballots in Yaoundé's election. It has already cast its vote in the blood of our martyrs, in the ashes of burned homes, in the defiance of mothers and fathers who have refused to give up. That is our vote. That is our democracy. When we say we have no skin in this game, we are not being indifferent. We are being intentional. We are saying that our destiny does not lie in the shifting sands of Cameroon's politics, but in the steadfast rock of our own determination. Even if Issa Chiruma wins, even if the talks about a referendum, it would be it would be foolish to believe that he, Issa Chiruma, a child of the same system that has murdered our people, would suddenly become our savior. Issa's referendum would be framed and controlled by Yaoundé. It would be another trap, another dialogue of deceit designed to dissolve Ambazonia into Cameroon's political bloodstream. True negotiation begins when both parties recognize each other as equals. Ambazonia cannot approach the table as a participant in Cameroon's domestic politics and expect to be treated as a sovereign people. That is what we voted for in 1961. We negotiate from strength when we hold our ground, when we assert that we are not one of Cameroon's internal problems. We are a separate nation with a right to exist. This election offers Yaoundé an illusion of stability. That is what you go and vote. You are telling them to tell the world that stability has returned. Let them have it. Let the world watch as they go through their predictable charade. Our duty is not to validate it, but to expose it. And when the dust settles, Ambazonia will still be here, unbound, unbroken, unbought. So does Ambazonia have any skin in French Cameroon elections? No, because this is not our game. We are not players in Cameroon's political theater. We are authors of our own destiny. Every effort to drag us into that election is an effort to erase our sovereignty, to recolonize our minds, and to reset our struggle back to zero. That's the point. By staying...
Let it be known, we free people shall stand. Yeah, good day, fellow Southern Cameroonian, Ambazonian. Today, na number 10 day for inside the month of October 2025. So, this communication, the commander for ground zero here, for fighters and for ground here. We do want talk this one now for our civilian population. One the way they day all over the 13 county, the 13 state of Ambazonian. And one the way they day even for like public territory. Say we know una activities they una carry out there on daily basis. We know una daily activities them. So with the back una, wa mami, wa papa them, wa brothers, wa sisters them, wa picking them even. So una stay away from anything like public. Una stay away from anything colonial leadership. With the back una. Say una no say we una picking them, una brothers them, una husband them, una wives them. Who enter this war have a fight for free homeland, not before turn gun for una. And that's why we always come back for tell una, update una on information about how the struggle they go. We know say tomorrow where they come, where we will call and say Sunday, na la Republic election day. So may una, our own people, una avoid anything where it concern like public. No be so. So. Because if we no go figure una today, any defaulter way go for election. If we no go figure una today, we go get una tomorrow. No be so. So. If we no go figure una today, we go get una tomorrow. So me any man, any our brother. Una see this flag, na Ambazonian flag this. Now the country do all the fight for. And we go do all things for protect this flag. We then have to do all that affair. Una don't hear Chuguma don't talk say, he be sorry. For say he don't support the like public government. For say me they be against Ambazonia. No be so. So if una get sense, una get for understand say all that one, that they politics them. For say me they win una heart, me they buy una conscience. So me everybody be very careful towards this time of like public election. We say no to any church. We say no to any church. Beginning from tomorrow Saturday, right up to the end for Sunday. Nobody not get nothing for do with churches. Nobody not get nothing for doing Jangi house. Nobody not get nothing for doing any meeting group. No be so? That's so. So we go thank una because we don't already pass message or pass avona. Here where the airplanes know the big lengo go live. No be so? That's so. Asawana. Asabuam. Isimili. Yes, we will end the talk for talk say weti. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonian and short live the struggle. Asawana! Asawana! Asabuam! Isimili! No be so? Una place the day Amba forces them.
As Cameroon once again marches to the polls this Sunday to elect a president, one question has
election in English Cameroon, not election. No election in Southern Cameroon. No election. 10 of my brother will take the foot to one go vote. Make them that strike up for down. Make anything happen for you. And took up now you take right the life put that for this people one love like one love the people them. But people they not ever love me. So no election. Which election Rwanda? Of what do? The people they do the election, who come get inside? No election. You care, you like me, or you don't like me, or you hate me, or you don't hate me. And no Englishman or they will feel like this. No Englishman. Can never happen now. I think they will change from Englishman to that country. Our boys they don't do their best. They have done their best. Here you no come for here to make smaller sense. And the people that want to so you know get hard for fight. You know get hard for even stand up talk. Also make you don't quite lock your toilet. You know what lock your toilet. One continue the talk. Say stop speaking nonsense, stop speaking nonsense. Which nonsense?
Mr. Chiroma, so tell me, my dear brother created by the same God, but technically not controlled by the same God. Because I can't sit here and think that it is Allah that you pray for every day in your life. That will tell you that because you need votes, go and dupe the people by pretending that you are asking for their forgiveness. That is a conjure. It is a conjure. So you can imagine what is going to happen. I cannot prescribe to you how you can bring change to La République du Cameroun. But you know it well. It's not going to be through elections. The entire system is smelling. It is so rotten and is smelling. And no real man can get into that system and do anything. You think that communicating with Chris Anu as your friend means that you are talking to who the people call secessionists. We are not secessionists. We are not seceding. There is a difference between secession and separation. Go and check those words and then do good to the history between the Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun. If you need my apology and the apology of my people, first tell us what transpired in that ministerial meeting that decision was taken. Tell us why you agreed to sit on television, look at the screen and willingly lie against our people. Tell us what you think have been the consequences of those lies, the lies that you push out there. Tell us. Tell us how you feel for yourself and for your own family. Tell us. And when you do that, you ask Allah for forgiveness. This is the type of situation where this war can be fought for 75 years.
No election in English Cameroon. No election. No election in Southern Cameroon. No election. Any of my brother.
Yeah, good day.
Mr. Chiroma, so tell me, my dear brother.
No election in English Cameroon. No election. No election in Southern Cameroon. No election. Any of my brother will take the foot to one go vote. Make them that strike up for down. My energy happen for you. And look at now you there, right? The life put that for this people. One love fly, one love the people them. But people they don't ever love we. So no election. Which election Rwanda? Of what do? The people they do the election, who come get inside? No election. You care, you like me, or you don't like me, or you hate me, or you don't hate me. And no Englishman or they will feel like this. No Englishman. Can never happen now. I think they will change from Englishman to that country. Because our boys they don't do their best. They have done their best. Here you no come for here to make smaller sense. And the people that want to so you know get hard for fight. You know get hard for even stand up talk. Also make you don't quite lock your toilet. You know what lock your toilet. One continue the talk. Say stop speaking nonsense, stop speaking nonsense. Which nonsense?
Mr. Chiroma, so tell me, my dear brother created by the same God, but technically not controlled by the same God. Because I can't sit here and think that it is Allah that you pray for every day in your life.
Fellow Ambazonians, on the eve of French Cameroon elections, I bring you this special message on Ambazonia's abstention from that election. I am Chris Anu, your comrade in arms for a free and independent Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. And today is Saturday, October the 11th, in the year of our Lord, 2025. Again, the subject of this message is, does Ambazonia have any skin in the game? As Cameroon once again marches to the polls this Sunday to elect a president, one question echoes sharply through the corridors of conscience and conviction across the Southern Cameroons. Does Ambazonia have any skin in the election? To the Ambazonian people, that question is not just rhetorical, it is existential. For nearly 8 years, our people have endured bombings, killings, torture, displacement, and destruction under the very system that now seeks legitimacy through yet another election. The call from Ambazonian leadership is clear: total abstention and a complete lockdown of the territory. But as always, there are voices, often from the fringes, arguing that perhaps this election presents a golden opportunity to change the regime in Yaoundé, to unseat Paul Biya, and to usher in a possible peace. But let's pause and think, ladies and gentlemen, peace under what arrangement? That is the question. Peace under whose terms? Peace at what price? For 42 years, Paul Biya has perfected the art of rigging, manipulating, and maintaining power through sham elections. Every 5 or 7 years, Cameroon stages what it calls a democratic exercise, but which in truth is a ritual of reaffirming tyranny. Opposition parties line up like sheep for the slaughter, each believing against all logic that perhaps this time the votes will count, that perhaps this time change will come through the ballot box. And every time the results are the same. Paul Biya wins again, and the circle of deceit continues. Now, some suggest that Ambazonia should put skin in the game, that we should align tactically with opposition forces to topple Paul Biya. But to do that is to betray everything, ladies and gentlemen. I mean the Ambazonian Revolution, what we stand for. It is to concede, to surrender that we are part of the same political community, that our struggle is not for independence, but for reform within the so-called one and indivisible Cameroon. It is to kneel once more under the same flag that has drenched our land in blood. If Ambazonia were to participate in Cameroon's election, even symbolically, it would amount to recognizing Cameroon's sovereignty over our land. That single act would erase decades of struggle, disarm our moral argument before the world, and render our sacrifices meaningless. It would tell Yaoundé and the international community that, despite our cries for self-determination, we still see ourselves as part of the system that oppresses us. Participation would also have strategic implications because, ladies and gentlemen, Once you recognize a system by engaging in its electoral process, you cannot unrecognize it. If Paul Biya wins, as history has shown, he will, then Ambazonia would have no ground left to claim that it does not belong to the Republic of Cameroon. We would have, by our own hands, destroyed the foundation of our case before international law. We would have renounced our claim to sovereignty in exchange for a seat at a fraudulent table. Even worse, if Paul Biya loses and another candidate, say Issa Chiroma, rises to power, the damage would be no less severe. By voting, we would have already endorsed that successor. We would have said, in effect, we believe your system is legitimate. We accept your process. We acknowledge your rule. And once that happens, Ambazonia's status as a separate and distinct entity vanishes in the eyes of the world. Issa Chiroma's sudden transformation into a prophet of peace, forgiveness, and national reconciliation must not deceive anyone. Again, it must not deceive any one of us. His campaigning rhetoric about a referendum, reconciliation, and national forgiveness is not aimed at justice, it is aimed at preservation. He is not recognizing the uniqueness of the Ambazonian conflict. He is simply trying to repackage it as another Cameroonian problem to be managed within the framework of a grand national dialogue. This is not new. We saw the same playbook in 2019 when Biya's so-called grand national dialogue pretended to address the crisis, but ended up being a public relations show to calm international pressure. That dialogue treated the Ambazonian struggle as a domestic grievance, a matter of poor governance and marginalization rather than what it truly is, a question of decolonization and self-determination. Chiroma's language follows that same deceptive trajectory. He speaks as though the problem of the Southern Cameroons is the same as the problem of unemployment in Douala or the problem of poor infrastructure in Yaoundé. But Ambazonia's case is not a Cameroon issue. It is a Southern Cameroon's issue, born of international injustice and colonial betrayal. To frame it otherwise is to erase our history, deny our identity, and whitewash our cause. Abstaining from this election is not weakness, it is strategy. It is a bold statement of non-recognition. By staying out, Ambazonia declares to the world, we are not part of this process because we are not part of this country. It is the same logic that drove colonized peoples across the world to boycott the institutions of their oppressors until independence was achieved. To vote in Cameroon's election, ladies and gentlemen, is to participate in a lie. To abstain is to oppose that lie for what it is. Every empty polling station in Ambazonia is a vote for independence. Every locked market and silent street is a statement that says, we do not belong here. This is how Ambazonia negotiates from a position of strength, not by joining their dance, but by refusing to play their music. When the guns go silent and the dust of the election settles, Yaoundé will look westward and see a territory that did not participate, a people who refused to be co-opted, a nation that stood apart. That image speaks louder than any ballad ever could. Those who argue for participation forget too quickly. They forget that in 1961, the Southern Cameroons voted in the United Nations organized plebiscite to join or not join a union, not to be absorbed and colonized. They forget that since 2016, the same regime now calling for peaceful elections has burned down villages, executed civilians, and imprisoned thousands. They forget that every dialogue has been a monologue of deceit. If history has taught us anything, it is that the beer system cannot be changed from within. It must be dismantled from without. And the only legitimate force capable of confronting it on moral and political grounds is Ambazonia, the people who have chosen to stand outside that system. The Ambazonian Revolution does not need to cast ballots in Yaoundé's election. It has already cast its vote in the blood of martyrs, in the ashes of burned homes, in the defiance of mothers and fathers who have refused to give up. That is our referendum. That is our democracy. When we say we have no skin in this game, we are not being indifferent. We are being intentional. We are saying that our destiny does not lie in the shifting sands of Cameroon's politics, but in the steadfast rock of our own determination. Even if Isai Chiroma wins, even if he talks about a referendum, it would be foolish to believe that he, a child of the same system that has murdered our people, would suddenly become our savior. His referendum would be framed and controlled by Yaoundé. It would be another trap, another dialogue of deceit designed to dissolve Ambazonia into Cameroon's political bloodstream. True negotiation begins when both parties recognize each other as equals. Ambazonia cannot approach the table as a participant in Cameroon's domestic politics and expect to be treated as a sovereign people. We negotiate from strength when we hold our ground, when we assert that we are not one of Cameroon's internal problems. We are a separate nation, a separate people with a right to exist. This election offers Yaoundé an illusion of stability. Let them have it. Let the world watch as they go through their predictable charade. Our duty, ladies and gentlemen, is not to validate it, but to expose it. And when the dust settles, Ambazonia will still be here, unbowed, unbroken, and unbought. So, does Ambazonia have any skin in French Cameroon elections? The answer is no, because this is not our game. We are not players in Cameroon's political theater. We are authors of our own destiny. Every effort to drag us into that election is an effort to erase our sovereignty, to recolonize our minds, to reset our struggle back to zero. And so, by staying away, staying out of it, we remain true to our cause. By abstaining, we affirm our freedom. And by refusing to vote, we vote for Ambazonia. Thank you for listening, and please pass this message into the gadgets of every Ambazonian out there. May God bless Ambazonia.
Fellow Ambazonians, good morning. This Thursday, October the 9th, 2025. The conflict between the Southern Cameroons Ambazonia. And La République du Cameroun has been going on for about 9 years now. And at the eve of the so-called presidential election in La République du Cameroun, we have now seen their politicians exhibiting some very strange behaviors. Some are postulating, some are gyrating, some they are tripping over each other, some are even breakdancing in an effort to show Ambazonians just how much they care about us. But the question is, if they truly cared about us, did they have to wait 9 years after to show us that they care? Even people who have said some really nasty things, have characterized us as terrorists, have said there was no problem in the Southern Cameroons. These same people now want us to believe that they are the messiahs that are supposed to save us. Do you believe them? I don't. Let us take a step back, fellow brothers and sisters, and look at the period when we unfortunately came together with La République du Cameroun and compare the regions which, as you well know, there was the northern part of the British protectorate territories that were under the British control as we were at the same time. And that region chose to join Nigeria, while unfortunately our own forefathers chose to take us to La République du Cameroun. Now, let us look at the way these two regions have been administered. Let's look at the way they have been welcomed or not within these various regions that they were taken to. The northern part of the territory that chose to join Nigeria, we will realize that there has been no agitation on their part to leave Nigeria. Let's take note of that. The part that chose to join Nigeria have been happy and have been well integrated into Nigeria and are living peacefully. While our region that unfortunately joined La République du Cameroun has not been treated well. And it all boils down to the fact that those that chose to join Nigeria were welcomed as brothers and sisters, while La République viewed us as captured territory, as bought property, as people that had been sold to them. As I said, captured territory, like territory that was captured during war or something. We were not welcomed as brothers from the very onset. You see, it is all about how those in the north were treated, contrary to how the Southern Cameroons have been treated by La République du Cameroun. The relationship between La République du Cameroun and the Southern Cameroons has been like that of a predator and a prey. It has been like that of a predator and a prey. From the very onset, the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia have been treated like the prey, people who are supposed to be used and abused. La République du Cameroun and their children have been raised to see Ambazonians as second-class citizens, as people who are supposed to serve in less important positions, people who are supposed to take orders to serve second-class citizens, as people who are supposed to serve in less important positions, people who are supposed to take orders. This has gone on for so long within La République du Cameroun that it is almost cultural for them to treat us as such. It will therefore take another 50 to 60 years to reverse this mindset, even with the best intentions, because the way they currently view Ambazonians is as people who are supposed to serve them and to be treated as second-class citizens. It is just like second nature to them now. And take note that they have not even demonstrated the intention yet to treat us as equals. Therefore, we first of all have to get to a point where they are willing now to treat us as equals. And then even if they decide, it would take probably another 50 to 60 years for that to effectively happen. Many of them still talk about us dismissively. Even those of our brothers who are supposed to be in high positions in their government are not given the regard. Even with the best of intentions, Ambazonians don't have 50 to 60 more years to wait for a revision of this mindset or a reversal of this mindset. That is why we must and cannot continue to cohabit with La République du Cameroun. If they had treated us as brothers, like Nigeria treated the northern region that joined them, we will not be where we are today. Too much damage has been done. The lack of respect for us, and even the outright hatred. We remember some of the statements that some of their officials made when this conflict started. Some called for a complete eradication of all Ambazonians within our territory, that they should just come and wipe everybody out indiscriminately. That's what some of them called for. You see, and the worst thing is that this hatred is not deserved. It is not because of anything we have done wrong to deserve this hatred. They just hate us for who we are. Ambazonians have in turn developed a deep distrust of La République du Cameroun as people who cannot be trusted, because they have demonstrated more than 1,000 times that they cannot be trusted. They themselves have demonstrated it, that they cannot be trusted. We are therefore incompatible with them and must therefore go our separate ways, as they have, of course, demonstrated. La République du Cameroun abandoned us when they choose to go back to their name at independence. And we Ambazonians have accepted their decision. We are simply accepting the decision they took. When I watched Eric Chinje and another federalist on ABS TV yesterday, arguing so fervently for Ambazonians to allow for La République conducted elections to take place in Ambazonia, I was compelled to wonder. Because their argument was that Ambazonians should allow this election to take place because that may be the path to our freedom. That may be the path to our freedom, as if we have not done this before. First of all, by insisting that Ambazonians should take part in the La République du Cameroun elections is an acknowledgement that Ambazonians have been assimilated like the 2 cubes of sugar they talked about. And secondly, a positive on the Ambazonian side is that if they are begging us to allow for the elections to take place, that means they now have come to the realization that we control our territory. And that if we don't want these elections to take place in our territory, it will not happen. But then, going back to my first point, it is an acknowledgement or an acceptance on their part, of course, not on the part of us Ambazonians, that Ambazonians have been assimilated. Like the 2 cubes of sugar that they talked about. It implies that we have been dissolved. But we Ambazonians say we have not been dissolved. But in the eyes of the likes of Eric Chinje, we have been dissolved. Because if we were not dissolved, let us go back, comrades, to the situation that occurred, or how we got to this point where the name of the country is now La République du Cameroun, or the Republic of Cameroon. I want these federalists to explain.
Fellow Southern Cameroonians, with a good afternoon. Now, Mr. Thomas, I come this afternoon for talk for Wuna, especially back home, because the stakes they be very high. Me I talk say the stakes they be very high. When to them Dave this way, the man command for a local balance, it talk say ngona lamatsine tuoje. If you know say your head dinner for your neck, these days them for the Southern Cameroons, today is the 10th. D-Day them D10, 11, 12, 13. Now very dangerous days for Southern Cameroons. Make you take your time. The way you remove your step. Take your time the way you remove your step for Southern Cameroon. That will talk and say, make all man remain for your house. If you want me top you, make it come meet you for your house. More than the other, but how manage it come meet you for your house? Like I don't say I'm La République already pull a fast prank for Akwaya, where Ayuk Takunchong. He don't turn journalists. He say Amber fighters, they go kill people for Akwaya. It forgets say the whole of Akwaya be manned by La République soldiers, and La République Dio, more than 10 years ago, it be ordered the entire population of Akwaya for Komot. Because they want to go cause massacre for Akwaya. They don't go repeat that massacre again. Last year, around this same time, La République be burn hospital for Manfe, kill people for that hospital. Say that Amber, I be La République killing more than 24 people for general hospital for Manfe. Talk say na Southern Cameroon soldiers they kill them. They say mad way, they say that Southern Cameroon be go born hospital for Manfe keep with them. Now that same mad don't come out today say no, they are soldiers. They be go born hospital for Manfe. Muna read the post. That information over there. That information over the post of La République. Say na La République, after 1 year, say na La République soldiers be go born general hospital for Manfe, they kill people more than 24. But when they commit that act, they say that Southern Cameroon soldiers be born hospital for Manfe. Are you talking to them? Say yes, not true. I don't know whether Ayukta Kunchong, he don't see that newspaper, he don't see the current publication of post newspaper where it talks say La Republic, I say yes, the hospital for Manfe, General Hospital for Manfe, na them be bonam, na La Republic be bonam, kill people for it. I don't know whether Ayukta Kunchong ever see that newspaper, never them. When Gabu, La Republic will go burn picking them and people for 36 people from Gabu bury them. When they burn them, they bury them. They be talk saying that Southern Cameroon soldiers do them. After 1 year, they come and say, no, it's been a mistake that they are vigilante and soldier be do them. But they don't be ever arrest any soldier or vigilante. They don't go cause massacre now for Akwaya. They talk say, nah, Southern Cameroon soldiers they kill them. How we going to fight for liberate our people, then they kill the same people they fight for liberate them? It didn't make any sense. I did ask Ayukta Kunchong, it didn't make any sense. Say we feel the fight for liberate our people, then turn again for kill the same people who fight for liberate them. That one a lie. Ayukta Kunchong, that one a lie. And for help Ayukta Kunchong, an entire village enough to be made up of black legs. Which way I see am the carnage where Ayukta Kunchong it is show am. Say they go rape what a 16-year-old picking, rape other women them, then kill all of them. Mr. Ayukta Kunchong, just about a week or two like that, one girl for Bamenda, if I don't make mistake, for Mancon, he declared say La Republic soldiers them, they kidnap you for go the road, put inside their hillocks, go rape ye white hillocks, go rape ye BIR elements, they kidnap ye. Surely that incident of Mancon, not only 2 weeks ago, they kidnap you for street, they go rape ye. Ayukta Kunchong. That is the way it takes place in Manko. So, it be a Southern Cameroon soldiers them. Which way take place to Akwaya? Is that the hallmark of La République du Cameroun's actions? Ayukta Kunchong. Anyway, which way La République soldiers they don't go for Akwaya? Now a signal for Southern Cameroonians. Make una stay for una houses. Make man no come and say it go vote for La République election Southern Cameroons. Because you come out for road, La République soldiers will kill all una for talk say na Southern Cameroonians Cameroon soldiers they kill you because they took come out go for vote. No make that mistake come out go die for the enemy hand. Where the enemy will turn the story say, nah, your own brother, he don't kill you. No make that mistake. Stay for your house. You will not get anything in common for doing with La République ye elections. Stay for your house. If anything will happen for you, make it happen for inside your house so that maybe we know what side way the problem is come out. And for you for not blaming yourself in regret. Say, Wusa, you will first to go. Be careful. The times and the days ahead are full of mysterious things that will happen. Do not place yourself into harm's way. Now, me, Sama Thomas, I talk.
Ladies and gentlemen and fellow Ambazonians, we've heard quite a lot. Why we should have nothing to do with La République du Cameroun in terms of the elections. Which is rightly so anyway. I want to add something here to what has been said out there. which I think will add substance to why we shouldn't vote or should have nothing to do with République du Cameroun in terms of their voting. But last time I checked, in 2017, we did declare our independence from them. Were we serious or were clowning? Or it was a joke? Let me paint two scenarios here, ladies and gentlemen. One of the founders of the nation of Ambazonia, Chief Gonji Dinka, once told us, those of us who have been here and following what is happening with the struggle, once when they went canvassing for support for the Ambazonian nation, they were told that so long as your people continue to be in that parliament, you always be looked upon as the same people. So what you should do is go to that parliament and let your people leave that parliament. You get independent the next day. He has said that has been played repeatedly in that struggle. Because so long as you continue to be in that parliament and you are contributing to the laws coming out of there, then you are part of it. If I may add another scenario here, the American War of Independence with Britain, before they got free from Britain, has to do with taxation because they were not represented in the British Parliament. And they argued that the British Parliament had no right to be taxing them in America, they call it in the colonies, when they were not represented to be part of decisions were made in that house in taxing them. One of the main reasons, no representation, no taxation. They felt that they must be part of it. And if they are not part of it, they should have nothing to do with them. It is the same scenario here, ladies and gentlemen. If we go out here to vote, it will mean that we are part of them. And if we do not go to vote, it will also show that we are not part of them. How can we declare independence from a people that we no longer have anything to do with them? And yet some of Amazon are urging us to go participate in their elections. Were we serious? A sort of camouflage? That's why they will say, we don't know why we fight. They're troublemakers. Because we cannot say that we're already independent. We've already vomited République du Cameroun. And yet we are wanting to go back to République du Cameroun. And let me ask this question. If we go to the elections with République du Cameroun, and the world will still recognize us as legitimizing the people we say we ran away from. To be very honest, just look at it this way. Were we clowning? Were we serious? Then why have all the destruction, the deaths that are happening in Ambazonia, only to go and take part or go to legitimize their institutions, the presidency, parliament, all of that? I said that we have given up the idea we once declared independence from those people. We are now coming back to be part of them. And we would have cemented in the minds of the international community. And République will say, they don't know why they are fighting. They're just a bunch of people causing confusion. And even you can even think all that we've achieved till date in terms of our struggle. How are we going now to reply to the people, the world, that we once vomited la République du Cameroun and we are still part of them? That would be deep, deep, deep political suicide. To believe that you say you were independent, and then when they say they have it, you will go back there to go vote with them. So how are you independent? And again, if we do ask yourself these questions, all that we've attained for these 9 years, where then do we keep them? We should keep them as, what shall we do with the flag? Shall we be hoisting our own flag with the one of with that of République du Cameroun, 2 flags in one country? If we happen to go to vote to legitimize the fact that we are part of them? What shall we do with our national anthem? Singing alongside with that of République du Cameroun? When we participate in that, showing that we're part of them? See what happened with Chirima and Bamenda. Okay, we can now sing a national anthem. There's another master, that one would harrow. Those boys refused to. And each Chirima was confused. Only for us, who is even going to declare that we should go vote? Our leaders can't even meet. So who pronounces that? That is not even the concern, ladies and gentlemen. The concern here is, what do we do with all that we have achieved in this struggle? Put them under the bed, abandon them, and follow La République du Cameroun? Because going for the election means fully politically that we are part of them. What will you do with our voices in the bushes? La République is going to integrate them into their military or into their police force? These are some of the things we should keep asking ourselves. That a journey we once started is a journey that cannot be abandoned. We can only go to the front, we can't go back. I wouldn't talk of the ills that have happened within the 9 years in République du Cameroun. I mean in Ambazonia. But look into yourself and search your soul that if this happens, our children already know the national anthem. They sing it every day. They know that we have a flag. We know that we have voices staying in the bushes. What becomes of these achievements? The world already know of our case. They were at war. How then do we abandon it and start? What shall we then be telling them again? To the enlightened Ambazonians, these are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Our fathers or mothers back home, the common man, the bike Okada guy, might not be seasoned enough to know these questions I'm asking here. But this is what we are supposed to go to ask them or educate them on the implications of abandoning what we started. But from home front is purely divided. There's nothing you can. But this confusion is coming only, and you realize that these people who are urging us to go for the elections are the very people that do not even want us to be independent. So why should we bother listening to them? If they continue to say, okay, let's go, let's go. When they any time that they were saying that we should not go, those who are singing this song are the very people that do not want us to be independent, want us to be federated, or what they call it, social status. So why do we bother against them or bother with them telling us to do this? So when we talk, these are some of the tenets that we had when we started this struggle. And when they will say shake, shake, no day. Where do you keep them? The souls that have been gone. They're gone. Our anthem says what? A land of honey and milk. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the things that when you think, you ask yourself, what well, for content, so you don't vomit it, you go chop the vomit again. Are you a person? Do you have core value? Do you even know what you stand for before you do things like this? And I repeat, those who are urging us to go are the same people that do not want us to be independent. So why do we bother listening to them or even discussing about it? So, ladies and gentlemen, these are things that we should have in our minds and let everybody search his conscience. and reinforce our belief in ourselves that this cannot happen, no matter what they do. We need by independence. And this is why we should have nothing to do. But we are no longer part of them. Our brothers are in prison. But when they declare independence, we choose them to be our leaders. 9 years in prison. Why will you tell Martha? Why will you tell Julius? Why will you tell all of these people were burned in their houses, roasted like soya? They go back and say, no, I want to be part of these people by taking part in their elections. Please. These are some of the reasons why we should never ever even think of having something to do with République du Cameroun, politically, socially, or economically. Don't be fooled.
Why the
One day sit at that table.
UNDP is not wanted in the Southern Cameroons. And this is the subject of the message I bring to you today. I am Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. Today is Tuesday, July the 15th, in the year of our Lord, 2025. And again, the subject of the message I bring to you today is titled, Why the UNDP, the so-called United Nations Development Plan, why the UNDP is unwelcome in Ambazonia, fellow Ambazonians. In an era where global institutions are expected to uphold neutrality, promote justice, and stand with the oppressed, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, has chosen rather a different path in the conflict in the Southern Cameroons. The UNDP opted for complicity. It opted for complicity over conscience, over convenience, and over credibility. What should have been a development partner has instead become a key player in a propaganda machine that seeks to erase a conflict without resolving it. And that is exactly what the UNDP is doing in the Southern Cameroons with La République du Cameroun. On May the 5th, 2020, in the midst of a still raging armed conflict in the Southern Cameroons, the UNDP signed a financing agreement with the government of La République du Cameroun to launch what they describe as a presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest regions, as they would like to call it. A plan for reconstruction as if there was construction in the first place. The agreement outlined a budget of nearly 90 billion CFA francs. 90 billion CFA francs. In dollars, that is approximately 151.8 million.
Fellow Ambazonian, this message should be very important. Somo will send this message all around the world. All around the world. Any side we day for any forum, for any side we day, send this message. Make Ambazonian. When I sleep, God is showing me so many things. Before anything happen, the world is so spiritual. The world is so spiritual. So when some certain things and this struggle they go on, so Not be by the power of restoration, is by the power of God. So many things in the way God don't show them before. Now the reason that was sorry for the people that they want play like black legs over the independent quest of Southern Cameroon and Ambazonian. So I bet everybody will get this message for your inbox, send them out for people. Send them out, make the rest of the other people them. It reach for down grounds on any side. Now the good fight is so the fight. Now the fight is so the fight because our brothers and sisters, them fathers and mothers, they don't lost their life. They gave for acknowledge the fact, say, wait, our land don't be free in the realms of the spirit. So no matter the level where La République du Cameroun, they put it for gunpoint, that day go come, we will get freedom. That day go come. And we'll ask the federalism, if they truly talk to this, so they fight, they need to work with La République du Cameroun, and when they work with them, make they get a binding document. One, most see their heavy, powerful document where they send them for United Nations. So they can conduct a referendum. Most see the document where they send them for Africa Union. Most see a document for for Ghana. Ghana embassy or Ghana government. For Nigeria government. For Canada government. For Britain. Most see the document where they send them out. If federalism need blown a air. But when they talk for independentism, people the way they fight day and night. Now how many federalism today they for inside prison? The one the way they move them, they use diplomacy, take and chain me. I go balade for this way if you do it. But a person this way want me to campaign. Me they can't campaign. Me they can't campaign for the bloods of people them. May God for the ancestors they not punish a Gobala, punish the generation. He talk open him up, say men can't campaign. May they walk over the blood of citizens the way they don't die for can't campaign. Now what is this way? The monsters them, the things say sometimes. Make we the generals them, well, they all over the world, mush down. We just compromise. Men la République du Cameroun, they can't do their game. No, we don't accept independence and we don't take them. And it don't happen in the realms of the spirit. We fight physically in a take where we belong to we. So if some people then be mumungombe, not be everybody be mumungombe. Now the only people the way they be so far go rich, now they be understand what to be happen. Now they be understand what to be happen. Someone are not to say this, so independent will come overnight, independent will come over 3 years, independent will come over 20 years. We go resist La République du Cameroun till the last man standing. So una vote, una cross go for Mongo, una cross una carry una pack una bag, both northern zone and southern zone. Una go for La République du Cameroun, una transfer. Make God not punish una generation them. Una transfer. But aside from that, make the restoration fighter, una make sure so una put fire for the Ansolo. Una surprise them for a very big way. For all the territories them. Una tell them say, they're not going to walk over the blood of the innocent people. They don't die for ground zero. For can't make that sham useless things them. At the last Cheroma Bakari, when I go toss me, I be prophesied. He go win that thing the highway. Come to be win for 2018. They're lucky they take the victory. He get lucky, say that so he no be die. Therefore, if he die, they drink me, but so they can't piece away head. They say, look the Momongombe, look this shrine, look the Christman. I dey laugh Cheruma Bakari because he did so for Pobia when a ancestor he did so he be a moving corpse Cheruma Bakari because he don't leak for inside the same shrine. He don't drink their blood. So what's una dey talk? Una dey talk for people that sometimes they need to see things them in the realms of the spirit. They only see the carnally way, the way they follow crowd. That crowd no go do nothing. I dey talk for una Asha for una look that crowd. Being Vondopobia is a shrine. If no one succeed, una move it for game. That nation don't come free. I end for here. Let's thank una Ambazonian people. So una send this audio, una send this message for all the parts of the world. It be very important. Thank una plenty. Yeah, fellow Southern Cameroon Ambazonians, greetings. 21 gun salute for everybody. I want salute to restoration fighters them. Una permit me for make this declaration. We announce this with some people them they go, they no go like them, so and then they go like them. But I want us to wait. We the fight against la République du Cameroun, where they don't know development, they don't know anything where it concern building an institution. They don't know how they build a system. We define la République where themselves they know get independent for that country because Pobia being Vondo, where some people then they say they want do election today. Puncture Ambazonian struggle because of what way they want gain. Then system they not get independent because say Pobia a puppet from Britain, a puppet from France, a puppet of la République du Cameroun, and a puppet to American system, a puppet to international system. Now who Pobia de? Now the thing that una say and say this, so even for a mutual bet, it rule la République du Cameroun. Now, the declaration with me, I do want make am, I do want talk for Southern Cameroon, Ambazonian people. Then I say, wait, una shine una eye, una shine una eye because Cheruma Bakari don't play some card, and some people don't want carry on also for social media. I do want open una eye for say una shine una eye because wait. Yesterday, Saturday, we see Cheruma Bakari for the northern zone. Say they so. Chris Anu, Comrade in arms, now a very good friend. Now the reason that way there for Bamenda. Now, Cheruma Bakari, this message first now for you. You be a traitor. Because of you, they burn down Kwakwa, they kill people them. Kill Mami Api, kill people them. You be a traitor. Nobody no wants you for Southern Cameroon and Ambazonian. Muna make sure say any sound una see, una light fire for Inzolo. Now the first declaration that I want to make on the side of Cheruma Bakari, say be the greatest traitor before and after this very election. It be a traitor as Ambazonian be concerned. Today and tomorrow, it will always be a traitor. Now, the reason why the one call say, make Ambazonian people they shine their eye because of it. Cheruma Bakari made this very tactical declaration. One, Chris Anu, my friend, and the second, he there for the northern zone. He the one campaign for which way Ambazonian they don't toss it. They be a state, a free country. Yes, these people they don't carry we in a gunpoint and they take we into their slave. Cheruma Bakari he there for country. He wants to so move go under the subjugation for the same la République du Cameroun. The people they don't vomit them. So he thinks say Chris Anu be very foolish. When no matter how we talk with he go grieve or swallow their vomit, lick them like dog. No. Now they don't throw away them. Federalists and the same sons and daughters of Jezebel, when they for Ambazonian struggle them, like devil them. Let witch hunters them. They don't carry them the day for social media. They don't light their cameras them and they stupefy themselves. And they behave, they talk like some people the way they get sense. Now for tell una sweaty, the enemy for outside, he no go know how to come inside your house until when somebody inside the house is showing the way. Ambazonian struggle. So many people the way they say they for the independent quest of Ambazonian struggle, they be the first number one enemy. When Satan throw away, important.
Someone will send this
message.
Una go see how with the same
all round
which people
the world.
they inside us.
All round
They
the
talk
world.
like Ambazonian.
Any
So we Ambazonians them. They carry them for make a wet over. Now a situation now don't happen where Cheruma Bakari, this Satan, he know what way they do him. And he do this game so with the same people that they call themselves say federalists. Una not saying at their game. For how many days today? We una yes say campaign do one go on. Now the time that way federalists they don't make this in say the one can lock into a meeting.
Fellow Southern Cameroon Ambazonians,
Hey,
greetings,
thank you for
greetings,
watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, share, and comment. If you really, it really helps for you to spread the message, spread the word, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there and follow button. So never you miss out on any fresh content that I share. Hit that notification bell so that you get all the update and be part of this amazing community. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more wonderful content.
Let it be known, we free people shall stand.